So, a little touching base with the breeding pairs. This is Steel, whom I'm like 90% sure is infertile. But I'm giving him one more breeding check. Baby girl in there is, I think she's not named yet. They don't get a name until they become parts of the breeding program. So, she's a yearling or a year and a half. Her father was Indus, her mother was Luna. She's a very pretty girl. Great feather in her background. Reasonably tall. She doesn't look very big because Steel is huge. As far as height goes, he's a very, very tall bird. So, as you can see, Steel is making all the moves. He's acting like he's feeling this. I'm not quite sure what the head bob is about, but that's just Steel, I guess. She seems to be kind of experimenting with accepting him. She's not in full acceptance right now. I haven't seen grooming behaviors, and I haven't seen him feeding her, but they're working towards it. So, who knows? Behavior can be a good indicator of infertility. These guys, on the other hand, this is Steel's one and only offspring that I have. The taller girl in there is Crystal, and that is Pewter. Pewter's a proven cock, so I don't expect to have any problems with him. Crystal, she doesn't have any health problems or anything, but she's older, and she's never laid an egg, which can spell difficulties. She also had so the hens go through cycles for breeding, and so the way the cycle works is this. You see it in the seer. The beginning of the cycle is white and not interested. The white will start to get a tan cast on it and start to granulate a little bit, so the surface of the skin on the seer looks rough. She is starting her cycle. The surface of the seer will become crusted and go from being tan to fade all the way into brown and with crustedness. And that means she is in cycle and ready to go. At the end of that cycle, before the brown wears off, the crust goes away and her seer becomes smooth again. And she ends up with a mahogany colored seer that's smooth. She is out of cycle at that point and not interested. And then it will fade back to white again to start the cycle over. So I don't know if you can see this, but when I put her in there, she had the smooth mahogany seer that said, I am done with the cycle. You're going to have to wait for me to come back around again. So now, as you can see, it's kind of hard because the focus isn't great, but white is coming in all around the edges, and the mahogany is fading away, so she's coming around to the beginning of her cycle. So I have not seen a lot of activity out of these two, but that could be explained by her cycle. They were bonded before. They spent 3 weeks in a cage together before I broke everybody down for being sick. So I'm assuming they'll get to it, but I'm just not seeing anything here. This is Charlie and his girl, who has not yet earned her name. She will soon, though. They bred 2 minutes after I put them together. And they are lovey-dovey, grooming all the time. In and out of the box. See her walking up to him. She says, hi, honey. Grooming all the time, in and out of the box. So I have no doubts that things are happening here. Kiss, kiss. This is the hopefully recessive pied pairings that I've got going. And she has been in and out of the box. She is white with tan coming in on her seer. So they're working their way up to it, and they are having the discussion. These two are not speaking to each other. This is my gray-winged male with all the fresh blood, and my Texas clear body hen, and they're both noobs. They have no idea why they're in there. They have not been in the box. Nothing. This is going to take 2 weeks at least. These two, this hen has been in this box. You see all the grass in there? She has spent significant time going in and out of that box. And her sear is tan. It's coming to tan, but I'm not seeing a lot of interaction between the birds. So one of the things that happens is the hens fall in love with the nest box and get all excited about that, start laying eggs, and then belatedly figure out, oh yeah, there has to be a man involved here. So they're sitting on the same perch. They're sitting near each other. I see them interact now and again, but I have a feeling she is going to be moved to take him on about the time she starts laying eggs, and which means that her first 2 or possibly 3 eggs will be blanks. But since I cull my flock down to only 3 chicks per nest anyway, it really doesn't matter. She's a proven breeder. He's a first timer. He's been set up before, but he's never made babies before. This is my other recessive pied pair. This is Shamrock and Zephyr. He is a recessive pied, so I'm breeding for splits this time. And I'm very much hoping that he can do this. He has been quite ill. He had a big cyst or growth or something on his back, which was really compromising him. So I eventually, I antibiotics him, and then when it was as small as it was ever going to get, I cut it off of him, which was a trauma for me, not to mention him. I had a terrible time keeping him from picking at it, so I had to put a cone on his head, which made him give up the will to live. But then I saw that, so after 48 hours I took it off, hoping that the pain has subsided enough so that he wouldn't pick on it anymore. And of course I was treating him with medical marijuana oil to reduce pain as well. And we got through it, both of us, me traumatized and him, recovering. But he's still not looking 100%. So I really don't know if he's going to make this happen. But he's a dominant cock, and he's done this before, so he makes all the right moves. But that does not necessarily mean he's going to breed. But she is in and out of the box. That's why she's sitting down there on the lower perch, because she's sitting in front of the box watching it to make sure it's safe. Because dark holes can hold very dark things. Great place to hide chicks, but you got to make sure it's safe first. So they spend a little time scoping out their boxes before they move in. See, he gives her lovely kisses. They're having a discussion. I've seen him trying to step on her wing. Because he's a dominant male, those are all behaviors of an alpha male. That doesn't necessarily mean he's going to actually get her bred. Male birds go infertile at the drop of a hat. So they get an upset stomach and all of a sudden they stop producing sperm. So he's going through the motions, but I'm not confident that he's going to fill eggs. So we'll see. See this? That is love. This is a discussion. And this is also a discussion. Oh, these two go through different periods where she does a little bit of crazy girl, running around, chewing on the bars. But you see how they're not sitting at opposite ends of the perch? They're facing each other. They're having the discussion. They're like, okay, we got you, we got me, we got a nest box, we got food. This might be something happening here, but they're not sure what. These two are also both nudes. They have never been in a breeding cage before. But do you see them? They've got their little heads together. He's warbling at her. She pecked him. He says, fresh. But he was not discouraged, which means he was not serious. A serious hen will drive a clock to the floor of the cage and have him hiding in the corner. So they're just having a discussion. See, these two, they're doing crazy bird together. It hasn't landed yet. These two were together last time. They actually, in spite of being deathly ill, gave me 2 fertile eggs, one of which hatched and died. That was the illness. They're both well now, and they recognize each other as best buds, and they are lovey-lovey. Are we going in the nest box? Let me see. A little bit maybe, not a lot. Her sear is, she may be out of cycle. I can't tell whether she's going into or coming out of cycle. We'll see. The cycle will turn around in a week or so, so it doesn't really matter. This is Blue Morpho and Laren. Laren has always been super mom and has obviously been in and out of the box. And although they were together, they had a lot of problems last time because of the illness. But they were one of the pairs that soldiered through and produced a baby. But they're kind of taking their time. I think Laren is just coming into cycle. There's a white seer that's just turning tan, so they'll take their time in a week. These two are also complete and total noobs. This is my gray winged boy and my other Texas Clear Body hen. But they are having a discussion, unlike the other two who are just doing Crazy Bird. They do sit next to each other. He chases her around. She's playing hard to get. I can't see her seer. She has a tan seer, so. But they're both noobs. They have no idea why they're here. See that? They are having a discussion. So, this is Kenny Loggins. He's stepping on his girl's wing, which means, come on, baby, let's do it. And she's saying, we're being watched. Wait till she leaves. I'm like, okay. She's polite. That's Kenny Loggins and Aster. And this is Murphy, and if she has a name, I can't remember it. She's never been bred before. She's a 1.5 years old. But that's not too old. I usually don't start breeding until a year anyway. And she didn't breed because she didn't get bred because I broke everybody up. So she's not that far behind. And her seer is perfect, tan, ready to go. They're having a discussion. There is one piece of grass in there. So not a lot of disturbance, but they're thinking about it. And, oh, these are my babies. So that's the 13 pairs. How we're going along. We're 3 to 5 days out from the first egg, which will come from my bonded pairs like Kenny Loggins and Aster and these two and these two. Oh, and these two who are running into this. See her sitting down there checking out the box? She's been in and out of it quite a bit, so they'll be making eggs pretty quick. These two are actually acting like they're pretty far along. I hope Zephyr's feeling well enough to do this, because I really need some more recessive pied splits out of him. So, he spends way too much time looking down there. Who are you looking at? Terrible bird. Okay, so that's it for the breeding program as it is.